This video will describe the styles of direct speech rules. In the semantic representations, we always mark, when there's direct speech, we mark the general category of the speaker, the general category of the listener, the speaker's attitude, and their relative age. For example, is a man talking to a king? Is a father talking to his son? Is there an antagonistic attitude? We mark those things in the semantic representations, and then your grammar can use those features to produce the right surface forms. And this is a 5-step process. Step number 1 is display the direct speech features. By default, they're hidden. So to display those, you can come to Feature Adjustment Rules, the Hide Features option, scroll down, and these are hidden by default. So we want to unhide them. And now we see, when we rest the cursor here, the speaker in this sentence, okay, this sentence is saying, then Moses said, I'm here. He's talking to Yahweh. And Moses said, I'm here. So when we rest the cursor there, we see the speaker is a man, the listener is God, speaker's attitude is neutral, the speaker's age, Moses is an older man here. Sometimes in some languages, older people will use slightly different vocabulary than younger people. So we include their age. The speaker-listener age is not applicable. So the first step is to unhide those features. Step number 2 is to set the prompt for new speaker-listener situations. We do that by coming here to the Setup dialog, the Grammar tab, Prompt for new speaker-listener situations. As soon as we do that, the software alerts us. There's a speech situation in this verse that doesn't match any of your styles of direct speech rules. Specifically, the speaker is man, the listener is God, the speaker's attitude is neutral, and the speaker-listener age is not applicable. So that's step 2. Step 3 is define the target language's speech styles. We can do that by coming here, Styles of Direct Speech. We click on the Feature Set dialog, and we're in Clauses. We come down to Speech Styles, and here we define whatever styles are relevant to your language. One of our early test languages was Korean, and Korean has 6 different styles. I'll enter some of them here. Deferential, polite, blunt, familiar, etc. You can enter any speech styles that are relevant to your language here. That's step 3. Step 4, write the styles of direct speech rules. We can do that here. Here, so each row in this table will be a rule. And the first step is to decide which features are included. By default, these 3, the speaker, listener, and speaker's attitude, are included. Let's activate those. And now we see columns for those. Maybe the illocutionary force is relevant. We can check illocutionary force. And now there's a column for illocutionary force with all of its values. Let's not include that for now. So now let's define it for this particular speech situation. So we rest the cursor here. The speaker is man, the listener is God, and the attitude is neutral. So we say the speaker is man, the listener is God, the attitude is neutral. Let's activate this row. And the speech styles that we defined earlier will be here. Let's say this is deferential. And we include a comment. And we're done with that. Now, as soon as we've done that, we can now see that the speech style is set to deferential. And if we rest our cursor here, the last row tells us features change from speech style equals not applicable to deferential by transfer grammar, speech style rules, row 1. Now that we know this sentence is deferential speech, now we're ready for the last step. Write the grammar rules to generate the proper surface forms. Different languages will have different ways of indicating honorifics. Maybe they use different pronouns, different case markers, different vocabulary. Maybe there's an honorable morpheme on the verb. For this video, let's say we'll use deferential pronouns. So we'll come here. This is a table of English pronouns. Let's make a copy of this layer. We'll copy this, and we'll say this is deferential first person personal pronouns. And we'll make this deferential by double-clicking up here. We'll go to clause and check deferential. So when the speech style is deferential, this layer will be executed. And we don't need these other rows. Let's delete these. And let's say that the first person singular deferential pronoun is I deferential. You'll have your own pronoun in your language. This is just an example. So now when we click the generate button, then Moses said, I deferential am here. So here we have the deferential first person singular pronoun. Let's look at one more example. Exodus 5:16:1, and again we're alerted. There is a speech situation in this verse that doesn't match any of your styles of direct speech rules. Specifically, the speaker is man, the listener is king. The speaker's attitude is honorable, and the speaker-listener age is not applicable. So here, this sentence is saying, you, Pharaoh, king, you stopped giving straw to us. And we see that the speech style is still not applicable. That's the default value. So we have to write another rule for when a man talks to a king. So we go back to our styles of direct speech. We'll say add a row. So this is the speaker is a man. The listener is a king. The speaker's attitude is honorable. And we'll say this is again deferential speech. So this time let's say you stopped giving straw to us. We want a deferential pronoun for us and an honorable pronoun for you. So we'll come back to our rule for pronouns. Let's add our first plural non-subject deferential pronoun. And we need an honorable second person pronoun. So let's copy this layer again. And we'll call this honorable second person personal pronouns. And we'll make this honorable. We'll again go to clause. This applies when when there's deferential speech. And this is only for second person pronouns. We'll delete these other rows. And we'll say you, honorable. Again, you would supply the appropriate honorable pronoun from your language. So now when we generate the sentence, you, honorable, stopped giving straw to us, deferential. So that's the idea. You define rows. You'll eventually have many rows in here. I'll show you the Korean example in a minute. You define the rows, and then you set the set the speech style. And whichever row is the last row in this table to apply, that will be the one that sets the speech style. And then you write appropriate rules down here in your synthesizing grammar to generate the proper surface forms. I'll show you the Korean rules. So here, we start off, there are many rows, as you can see. Many of the rows are turned off, but there are many rows. You start by setting the most generic type. Usually when people talk to each other, it's plain speech. When two people don't know each other and they're talking, it's plain speech in Korean. This is for Korean. If younger people are speaking, it's deferential. If people in the same generation are speaking, it's polite. And you come down here, when talking to a crowd, it will be deferential. When talking to God, it will be deferential. But when Jesus talks to God, it will be plain speech. When God talks to himself, it will be plain speech. So you can see you put the generic ones up at the top, and as you get lower and lower in the table, they become more specific. And again, it will be the last row in the table that applies. Whichever row is the last one that matches the current speech situation in the semantic representations, that will be the one to set the direct speech style. And then the synthesizing rules will generate the proper surface forms.